I was able to make parade floats in Planet Coaster 2. Now, these aren't official parade floats. I actually made these using the really cool coaster editor that allows us to put scenery on top of coaster cars. But enough stalling, let's jump into the video. Here's how I did it. So of course I had to start off with just a little bit of an asphalt path. What I'm doing over here, I'm basically just using one color of asphalt and another just to represent the sidewalk. This is just so unimportant. I have no idea why it's even in the video, but I wanted to have a little bit of fun with it. Still learning the path system. I'm not exactly 100% with it yet, but I hope you guys did enjoy the path tutorial that I put out yesterday. It's been a while since I've done something like that, but it was really fun. We were able to make this cute little plaza. I had such a blast with it. So absolutely check that out if you're having any struggling with the path whatsoever. But here is the trick. Here is the trick that this here's the trick that it's basically built on. Basically, what I have over here is any kind of roller coaster, really. I've just been very much favoring the Wild Mouse ride. And I essentially just start to attach furniture. Not furniture, but I guess you could put furniture on it. I start to attach any building pieces right on the top of it. And this first build that I'm doing right here is available on the Frontier Workshop for you all to use. I'll link the code for that in the description down below because, of course, that is something that we have now. We no longer have Steam Workshop codes. We actually have, well, Steam Workshop hyperlinks. Now we have actual codes, which is both a blessing and kind of a curse. We can't view it like anywhere else except for on Planet Coaster, which is interesting, but hey, what can you do? What I'm doing over here is just making functional wheels so it looks like that this parade float is actually on the move. This was such a cool little trick that I used using the, what do you call those? The inflatable tubes? I don't know. I thought that was really fun to use those specifically for this purpose. And basically what I'm doing throughout here is just adding as many details as I can. I do a little bit of off-camera detailing, just a little tiny thing. I add little like spokes to the wheels, just as a way to really make them feel a lot more realistic, or a lot more wheelistic. Please fire me from this job. But hey, what I'm doing over here is also multiplying it on the other side. Typically, I would be using the symmetry tool, but I found that the symmetry tool on the coaster car is not really symmetry. It's kind of like mirrored. So it kind of has it on the opposite side of wherever I want it. It's not the best tool out there. It has certain purposes where I think it does work pretty well, but not really for this. However, what I'm working on over here is getting a nice base for you all to use, just a nice big template that allows you to basically just put on whatever pieces that you want to put on top of this thing. I don't know, I really do like it. So we do change out the colors right after that. Again, the confirm tool is just the most annoying thing in the world, but I'll suck it up for a bit. But yeah, I essentially just repeat that on the other side, and I start to add some tiny little detailing in here as well. I wanted a little bit more of a metal frame, so I start to use these mythology sign panels. I thought that was really cool, and it gives this entire build just a little bit more of an industrial look. I'm such a big fan of that. Also, I'm a big fan of adding tiny little details in here, so I add a license plate once I actually end up finding the right piece. I forget what pieces I use. I think I actually use that little brace right there, yeah. So I essentially just line these up, and one of my favorite things to do with scaling now is that it's so easy to kind of do like quote-unquote framing. So I take all of those, I shrink it a little bit, and then I change it to a different color. It's so easy to do those little tiny like kind of framework things. I don't know, it just makes me so happy just be able to do that stuff, because that stuff in Planet Zoo or like old Planet Coaster would take forever. And of course, there's a little subliminal messaging. If you haven't already, hey, it's free, and I always do appreciate it. You get to see wacky and kooky builds, kind of like this. But with all that being said, all that I had to do was kind of sink it into the ground. And from there, we got rolling on the wheels, I suppose. You do need to sink it down to a specific height though, so do keep that in mind. It's kind of finicky, it's kind of difficult to work with, but eventually it just works out so well. And unfortunately, the coaster track is not fully complete. I assume that your parks will have these very intricate kind of pathways and stuff like that. So there will be ways for you to kind of get that all set up, and I'm just throwing down like a couple more decorations in here. I really just wanted to get some backgrounds for the video because I don't think that putting this in an open field would look good, but hey, it looks good. Look at that. So that is a little bit of a kind of custom train right there. It is very basic, but you can add whatever you want to it. You can add whatever gulpy things you want on top of it, and it will look very good parading down the streets of your parks. But what if you want to do something a little bit more custom? Well, I want to show off what I was able to be a little bit more capable of. I really wanted to play around with the mythology set, just because I'm such a big fan of it. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful set. Again, you can see that thing with the symmetry right there. It kind of works. It's just like one piece off. I have no clue why. I really have no clue why, and it just makes me so angry because it would be so easy to build, but for some reason, it's like one step forward, two steps back with Frontier. I don't know. It's just very finicky to get a hold of the controls. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Who knows? So I essentially just say, screw it. I give up. I'm just going to add these pieces manually with all those little knots in there. But I really wanted this parade float to really stand out. It's not really anything specific, but I really just wanted to make use of the theme and make use of the parade float and have something that looks good and essentially mobile when all things come down to it. I absolutely adore what I did with the cloud pieces right down there. I feel like that was just some nice extra theming that we were able to sneak in. Also repeating it on the other side as well, and also adding these little embellishments with just a little bit more of those kind of cloth pieces. Really big fan of those. Those were in the Planet Zoo Tropical Pack. So even if you're a coaster person, be sure to thank a Planet Zoo player today. You can see I'm adding these little columns in here, just playing around. I really wanted these Corinthian columns. I felt like they had a lot of good detail. So I change out the colors of those, and that's the biggest complaint that I have, is that I keep on trying to double click on the actual coaster car, but every time I click on the coaster car, it thinks I want to build on the coaster track, which is kind of annoying. Frontier, if you're watching this video, please change that so if you double click on the coaster car, it lets you edit the coaster car in the modular scenery, but if you double click on the track, it just brings you to the track. I feel like that makes like 5 times more sense. I don't know. Adding a couple fences on here just to help keep whoever like the peeps are on top of that train inside, and just adding a couple extra details in here just to really help this come together very well in the end. I don't know. I really love how this came out, and I added those like little planet coaster decals on the sides of those fences as well. I don't know, I really love how those look. It just feels like such a nice little official parade float. Will we get parades officially in Planet Coaster 2 in the future? I honestly feel like we might. I feel like we have a lot of like the basic update items that it might be in the future. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing if you can. But hey, this is on the workshop right now. Please ping me on Twitter, on the socials, on Instagram, if you do end up making something with this template. If you put together a whole float, oh my god, I can't wait to see who does that. That'd be absolutely awesome. But take care, have the most wonderful days, and we'll see you all in the next video for Planet Coaster 2. Take care, and bye-bye.